For today's video, we are talking about multiplying proper fractions. So our learning target today is I can multiply fractions. Please write down what you know about multiplying fractions already, the date you're watching this video, and then we have one vocabulary word. The vocabulary word is the answer to, that a product is the answer to a multiplication problem. So at this point, please make sure you have all that written down, pausing the video if you need, and then restart when you're ready to go. So when we're multiplying proper fractions, again, as we've been doing, we're going to start with an example. Our example is 1/3 times 5/6. And the rule here is very simple. We do not need to get a common denominator to multiply fractions. Instead, all we have to do is numerators together, that goes on the top, and then multiply the denominators together, and that goes on the bottom. So the numerator times the numerator, in this case, that's 1 times 5. On the bottom, we'll do 3 times 6. That leaves us with the fraction. 1 times 4 is 5. 3 times 6 is 18. And so our answer is 5/18. That's it. That's all you have to do. Top times top, bottom times bottom. Okay? Again, there's a few things that can happen with this. I'm going to show you a couple of those things right now. So let's say we had the fraction 13 over 5 times 2/39. All right, I already see this one's going to be a little bit harder just because the numbers are a little bigger. Okay, so to solve this, just like before, I'm going to start by doing the numerator times the numerator. That's 13 times 2. That goes on the top. And denominator times denominator, 5 times 39. And that goes on the bottom. 13 times 2 is 26. 5 times 39 is 195. You can use your calculator to help that if you need. Okay? Now here's the problem. We need to always simplify. And looking at this, it's not super obvious that this is something you can simplify. But if you try enough things and you keep trying, you're actually going to find that both of these numbers are divisible by 13. Okay? If we do that, 26 divided by 13 is 2. And 195 divided by 13 is 15. Now, I don't know if I would necessarily catch this right away. And you might be thinking that to yourself too, like, oh no, I'm going to end up with these big numbers and I'm not going to know how to simplify them. So there's a thing you can do that makes this a lot easier and makes it so that you're working with a lot of simpler numbers. And when we do it, we are actually going to look at this step right here. So I'm going to rewrite this step. This step is 13 times 2, 5 times 39. All I'm doing here is I'm rewriting what I just did. Okay? Now, one thing I can actually do is I can start right here on this step and I can simplify here. To do that, I'm going to look at numbers and I'm going to look at these two numbers, making a little X, and I'm going to see if there's anything I can simplify. And right away, I see that I have a 13 and a 39. 13 and 39 are both divisible by 13. So before I do anything, I can divide these both by 13 and replace them with a new number. Since I'm dividing on the top and the bottom by the same, this will be the same answer. 13 divided by 13 is 1. 39 divided by 13 is 3. So instead of doing 13 times 2 and 5 times 39, I'm actually going to do 1 times 2 5 times 3. 1 times 2 gives me 2. 5 times 3 gives me 15. You might notice that in both of these examples, I ended up doing the same thing. My factor I simplified by was 13, and it was 13 here. The only difference between these two methods is that the second way, I simplified before I multiplied. The reason I do that is because I'm going to end up with a much easier math problem in the end. If you, though, look at this and this is super confusing and you hate it, you're always going to be able to do the first way. But I want to show you a couple more examples of how to solve this the second way so that you see how this can actually end up being a big time saver for you, okay? My next example is going to be 2/3 times 9/10. Now, the first thing I want to do here, I know that I'm going to be doing 2 times 9. I'm going to do 3 times 10. The first thing I want to do is I want to look across on these, looking at 2 and 10 first, and see if there's anything I can simplify both 2 and 10 by. In this case, the 2 and the 10 I see are both divisible by 2. So I'm going to divide both of these things by 2. 2 divided by 2 gives me 1. 10 divided by 2 gives me 5. I can do the same thing with 3 and 9. Okay, thinking, what is there anything that goes into 3 and 9? Well, 3 goes into both. So I'll divide both by 3. 9 divided by 3 is 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1. My new math problem now is 1 times 3 and 1 times 5. Because I've already simplified by 2 and by 3. 1 times 3 is 3. 1 times 5 is 5. That leaves me with the fraction 3/5. Okay? I'm going to do one more, and this time I would like you to see if you can try to solve it on your own first, and then watch the video after and see if you were able to get the right answer. This time we're going to do 18 over 21 times 7 over 9. Pause the video here, see if you can solve it on your own first. Okay? Hopefully you've done that. At this point, now that we're starting to get used to it, I'm just going to simplify from right here at this step. I see that I have 7 and 21 that are across this way. Well, I know 7 goes into 21, and it obviously goes into self. So dividing by 7, 7 divided by 7 gives me 1. 21 divided by 7, 3. Going the other direction, I see that 18 and 9, well, 9 goes into both of those. 18 divided by 9 is 2, and 9 divided by 9 is 1. You can see I'm still dividing the top and the bottom by the same number, just like I would when I was simplifying. Just in this case, I'm doing it in the first step. Now, I just have 2 times 1 and 3 times 1, leaving me with the final answer, 2/3. You can see in this example, if I'd done 18 times 7 and 21 times 9, I would have had huge numbers to work with. And it might have been really hard for me to figure out what to simplify that by. In this case, even though I had to think about the steps ahead of time and do what looks a little confusing, at the end I just have 2 times 1 and 3 times 1, which is really simple math. Please feel free to rewatch this video if you need. Let me know if you have any questions, and have a great day.